Will is the key. Willpower. I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I don't know much as you do, I'm sure. I'm sure everybody in here is more learned than I, much more of a scholar than I. But I know about coming back from seemingly unsurmountable odds. I know about coming back from when doctors tell you that you can't or that you shouldn't. Now, sir, because of your diagnosis, and don't do a damn thing. Bullshit. Hell no. Every time I go to the doctor, they tell me what I shouldn't be doing, and what I should be doing, and what I won't do, and what I can't do. And I politely go out the door and do whatever the fuck I want to do. And I'm gonna do that until they throw dirt on top of me. This is my life. And I choose to live it the way I want to live it. I won't let you decide how I live this life. I don't care how long or short it is. It's mine, motherfucker. And I'm gonna use it how I see fit. What motivates you? Your story motivates me. Your story motivates me. The stories of extreme will. People that came through something or circumstances that they were not supposed to go through. You just ain't supposed to be able to do it. But he did it any goddamn way. It is impossible until some crazy son of a bitch has the audacity to believe that no matter what the expert or the doctor says, I can still do that shit. And if you don't believe it, just sit your ass down over there and watch me do it. How do you teach people to not look at something and say immediately, because the appearance, I can't do it, I give up, before they even attempt it? Oh, that's overtraining. Simply because it sounds like more than I ever done before. I can't do that. I won't even try. I won't even try. I give up before I even try. No. Oh, I tried, but I fell short. I tried my best, but I fell short. Is there victory in that? Goddamn right it is.
I knew this day would come. What did I mean by that? I mean the day that you can't distinguish between new experiences from a non-manic perception and the symptoms of being bipolar. Oh, you stupid thing. Okay, this is a lot to break down. Okay, with bipolar, you can have perception shifts due to your emotions. But you can also have perception shifts just because you're a person dealing with new things and new experiences, right? So this was a conversation I had with my mom over the holidays. It's so frustrating talking to her about it because a lot of times what she'll say to me is, well, normal people feel that. Normal people go through that. And every time she says it, it fucks with my head. I know she's right on certain cases because it's stuff that's new to me. I've never experienced it before, right? Then it's up to me to try to explain to her how it's not just like that or just because of that or it's not always that case. And this is why I think medication is so dangerous. Because it forces people who are bipolar, who suffer, like me, who are manic, see the world through manic lens most of the time. Well, I should say manic, but hypomanic. Most of the time, the medications forces them in a world of oh my fucking Christ, here we go. Ugh, I need a better stand. I'm working on it. Jesus Christ, now I'm going to lose my train of thought. Just took a shower trying to put my thoughts together. People with medication, yeah. So if people take medication who are mostly manic all the time, it forces them in the world that they're going to see through a non-manic lens, which means everything will feel unfamiliar. It's a very scary place to be, and that can lead to some pretty fatal consequences. I first experienced this when I was diagnosed and I was first put on medication. As far as I knew, it was Abilify, Wellbutrin, and Buspirone, I think, something like that. Anyways, there's 3 of them. And I couldn't even be in my own skin. It was just horrifying. It was horrible. And which made it really hard was, I was living with someone at the time, so there was, oh, for fuck's sakes, man. Ugh. Okay, this is becoming annoying. Sure, I was living with someone at the time, which was fine, because there's always some kind of watching you. But at the same time, that person had no idea how to be supportive in what I was going through, because she just had no knowledge or experience dealing with this kind of thing, right? So it certainly wasn't her fault. So I made the choice after the hospital, after the accident. They put me back on medication, and I was recognizing I was going through the same thing. So I took myself off and vowed to myself I would never take medication again until I was strong enough or mature enough or had the life experiences enough to deal with the consequences that may come with taking medication. But the dangers of medications is you never know. You can't I don't think it's possible for you to establish any kind of familiarity or routine with it. Because for myself, I have adjusted to dealing with it in my own way. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, but I've been able to keep a job and function. Back to what I was talking about. I knew this day would come. So now we're at the part of our lives, my life, where we've got a schedule and we know what to do to maintain a healthy, strong, productive life. That's not easy, not smoking, no drinking, drug free, being very self sufficient. That is all very, very possible. And it has been done. But the problem is that enough? Do we simply want to exist in that safe little bubble? Sure, we're not in the manic bubble anymore. We function just fine, whether we're depressed, whether we're non-manic, whether we're hypomanic or manic. We know how to function in all areas of our emotional spectrum, right? But the problem lies in determining now, oh, for fuck's sakes, man. Oh, God, this is driving me fucking crazy. Why can't you just stay still? I'll lose my train of thought again. Lost my train of thought. Yeah, so the question is, going forward, is determining the difference between just life experiences of a normal human being and the perception changes of being bipolar. That get really fucking tricky, and that's what I've been dealing with since probably March. Is it worth it? Is it worth exploring, sticking your head out of the bubble and because when you stick your head out, there's a lot of different variables coming at you all the time, and it's hard to recognize between your manic perception and just someone who's experiencing things for the first time and not knowing how to deal with them properly. Trouble with someone who's manic, the judgment is really, really bad. Really bad. Because they're looking at things with the wrong lens. But if you haven't experienced something before, right, it's the same thing. Because you haven't experienced before, so you don't know how to process what you're taking in. So there's a very fucked up line between, okay, am I bipolar or am I just someone new experiencing new things? That's a fucking mind fuck, let me tell you. Especially when I go back to what I was telling you, I was talking to my mom about it. And I was so frustrated because I know there's times where I can differentiate between looking at something at a hypomanic perception and something that is just new and I don't understand, and it's a new feeling or a new experience, and I just don't know how to process it. From a non-manic standpoint, right? So it's really difficult to have this conversation with her. So I told her, okay, let me try and give you some scenarios, and it's really hard because it's like catching yourself in a lie or catching yourself is trying to remember something you did 3 weeks ago, but it's trying to remember a feeling. It's fucking pretty hard to do, It's like a needle in a haystack. So the best example I could give her was this. We all have had, let's say, but put in a position where, let's say you have a job and you're offered or a better job came up, right? And you're going over the pros and cons and you don't know what to do. Should I take the job? Shouldn't I take it? Should I take the job and shouldn't I take it? Right? That's a natural reaction for anybody, right? Right? It is. So let me tell you my story. And this is where I'm going to give you two examples. And you can make up your own mind about what I'm talking about. First example. So the gym I work at, okay? A job came up. It was Monday to Friday, 5 in the morning till 10 a.m. And that was a perfect job. It would have been the perfect job for me, right? I got really excited. I thought about it. And then I thought, okay, well, what happens if when I eventually lose my license and I go to jail? Am I going to have a job when I come out? And if I do have a job when I come out, how will I get to work? Will I have to hitchhike every day? So on and so forth, right? But then I was looking at the job I do, there's some weather involved, I'm 50. Sure, it's great, it can be physical. But the gym is a good fit because that's what I'm into, right? I'm into bodybuilding, so it's good. It's a good environment. It's it's a good fit that way. So maybe hitchhiking would be the best move. So there was a lot of things going on there. But my job at the warehouse with trucks, I have it for life. Okay, it's a job I can do. It's right across the street from me. I can walk there in 5 minutes. There's just you're just going back and forth. At the end of the day, it turns out, because the jobs and gyms in Rockland, you need to be bilingual. So I didn't qualify for the job anyways to begin with. But I didn't know that at the time, but I still went through the process. But it made me think, though. It's like, wow, okay, this is the first time you had to face this kind of decision, as far as your career. Was there anything that you missed? Was there not? And there's only one way that I can determine whether or not something is the right decision or not. We'll get to that later. Well, I use the bipolar bridge. I'm not going to get into what it is. You'll have to look it up for yourself. But I only use the bridge when there's very, very important decisions I have to make. I mean, life-changing decisions. Or if something is so overwhelming that I need to understand that I can't, then I'll use it as well. It's not something I like to do, but when it's necessary, it's necessary. Because it's the only time I can look at something clearly, without emotion, without any of my needs getting in the way. It's like almost seeing things with a clear mind. But let's get back to where making the decision, bipolar, was a factor. Because it wasn't really in this decision-making process. I reasoned with it pretty well, but I couldn't see far enough down the road without the bridge. Right? As I have a lot of time there, the job would be with, there's a lot of things that this company will take care of me. They'll take care of me no matter what, right? So there's things I couldn't see. So let's get this to the job opportunity that being bipolar and not using a bridge would have greatly affected the course of my life. So I was offered a job that I used to do. And I'm not talking meat cutting, okay? Let's just say it has to do with this path here, okay? So I was offered this job. And right off the bat, I'm like, no, sorry, man, that's not me anymore. I can't do that. I have to see this life through. And it was an easy no. It was a very easy no. No, I can't do that. Sorry. So, a couple days went by. Something happened in my personal life. That spiked a little bit of manic thoughts and manic behavior. And next thing you know, I'm downstairs at my kitchen table, writing down all the things I'm going to need for this job that I'm going to decide that I'm going to take now. I'm writing down everything I need, all the questions I have, You know, and anyways, and that was it. Wrote that and went on with my day. So, anyways, the next day, I looked at these sheets. I'm looking at all my writing, and I'm just like, in that state of mind, it made perfect sense to take that job. It made perfect sense to take that job. To abandon everything I worked for here, abandon everything that I've done for myself thus far, and put me right back into the shit, right? But the thing is for that time frame, that's exactly what I wanted to do, and I believe that was the right thing to do. You know, and that's the dangers of it. It's hard. It's really getting really hard to determine what lens I'm looking at it from. Am I looking at it from a bipolar lens, or if I'm just looking at something from a man who hasn't experienced certain things before through a non-manic perception, right? So that's been this year. So now it's like a decision kind of has to be made. I have to make some kind of decision where it's like, okay, where do we go from here? Do we gamble like we did this year again? Could we afford to take that gamble again? To explore feelings, different ideas, trying to make certain progress in life. Because there's a danger in that. The wrong decision and everything I've worked for can be going like that. And it'll happen that fast. It can happen that fast. So I kind of have to make a decision going forward in the new year. Okay, well, yeah, there's a safe bet. There's a safe plan. There's a safe way of doing things. The only question is can I live with that? And that's why I had to explore relationships, explore feelings, because we want to make sure that we're dealing with this stuff and we're not sidetracked again with something and not knowing how to deal with it, right? It's definitely one of those crossroads decisions, and I knew this day would come where I would have to face a lot of the challenges of looking through the lens of someone with new experiences and looking at things. That could be very hard to determine whether it's a bipolar thing or it's just someone not having a fucking clue what he's doing. Because we only get so many chances, right, to get ahead in life, And it's not fair. It's not fair at all. I like to think there's a reason for all this happening. Couldn't tell you what it is, but I like to think that there's something bigger than me or whatever, but that's what we tell ourselves, right? That's what we tell ourselves. Life is really easy when you don't connect yourself to things. People, relationships. Life is very easy when you cut those cords, when you cut people off and you don't try to establish any kind of friendships. And life is really easy that way. I got to tell you, because I've done it. And I recognized how things became much easier that way. But I questioned it. Right? That's not the healthy thing to do? Maybe it is. Maybe it is the healthy thing to do if it's going to affect your life negatively. That's after all, it's all about emotion, right? If you don't have if you don't have love in your life, you're not gonna die. If you don't have food in your life, you'll die, right? So there's things that we can go without. It's a matter of asking yourself, okay, well, what's the pros and cons of having that? And accepting certain limitations, which I agree with and I don't. You know, if you would have told me 25 years ago I'd be sitting in front of a camera, spilling my guts and talking about shit like this, I would have said, you're fucked. Something my psychiatrist said to me once. He says, you're very high functioning. You know, back then, I only seen him for a short time, so I had no idea what questions to ask him. I had no idea, you know. This is your diagnosis, you're bipolar mixed states, blah, 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 blah. Do this, do that, do this, do that. Have a nice day, right? There was no time before we retired, there was no time for me to, you know, to ask questions. My mom says, you're maturing. I said, maturing, Mom. I'm only 9 years old. She goes, what? Well, that's how old I consider myself. I was diagnosed at 40 years old, so it's been 9 years now, so I'm 9 years old. It's not made for an interesting conversation. Also, too, we don't want our past to control our future either, right? You know, if something happened in one of your relationships and, you know, whether he lied or, you know, whatever, pick your reason. And then you go through your life and you carry that shit around with you. You know, that's not healthy either, right? So I question, okay, well, there's just so many moving pieces here. It's hard to keep track of them. Sorry if I'm going about. I'm just rambling. I just need to put this on tape. This here. I have so many moving pieces that I have to consider. I can't even think straight. We certainly can't do cocaine for the rest of our lives. We can't depend on that bridge for every decision we have to make in life, right? Like everything, things have to evolve and change. But one of the main reasons, too, that I explored this whole relationship bullshit and everything, sure, it's, I explained that I never thought I'd get this far in life now, and it just seemed futile to not have someone to share it with. But that's not the only reason, too. You gotta understand, having someone living the rest of your life alone, there's certain things you have to come to terms with, and there's a certain um, 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 for example, for example, I'll never consider taking medication as long as I'm single. That'll never happen because number one, it's just too fucking dangerous, and there's no one here to have my back to make sure I'm making the right decisions. You know, um, so I have to move forward thinking, okay, well, in order to successfully move forward, um, I have to do it in a way where I can't entertain certain thoughts, right? It's almost like process elimination. Maybe normal people do that. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of things that I think about and that I communicate that I don't know it's coming from a bipolar reality or coming from a reality that just someone that has no fucking clue what he's doing and experiencing things for the first time. I don't know if, let's say, the non-manic, the non-bipolar version of Scotty would have had this conversation in his life. I don't know. How do people, how do normal people self-evaluate, or do they self-evaluate? How do they make decisions? I just don't know. I just don't know. That's where it gets complicated because talking to people, they'll say, "Well, normal people just go through that." You know. So now it's all about deciding where to go from here. Is the door left open for relationships? Yes. Have I set myself some rules from what I learned? Yes. Do I put myself back in the bubble? Maybe for a while. I think maybe I will have to for a while. Because I don't want to experience what I experienced this year. Like, honestly, I'm lucky to be alive. Or, this could have gone a lot of different ways. This could have went financially really bad too. Although this did cost me a lot of money, it didn't cost me to the point where I'm in trouble. But I don't think I can risk taking chances like this again. And these weren't delusional chances. This is just me. These were things that any normal human being would go through. You know? It's just being alone, you can't afford to make mistakes. And this is a talk from someone who's bipolar, so because we normally have pretty bad fucking judgment because we're delusional when we look at things. We're not seeing things what they really are. But a lot of people do that too, make really bad decisions, right? They can't see past their emotions on certain things. It's pretty easy for me to go back to the bubble What I mean by the bubble is I just mean just not taking any chances. That's what I mean by the bubble. Keeping my job, sticking to my routine. You know, that's a very easy thing to do. You know, build up my bank account, start getting things I want. You know, it'd be nice to have a few things. It'd be really nice. I've deprived myself of a lot of things. I have everything I need, but I think you guys know what I mean. You know, I like to get a new big California King bed again. You know, I like to have my bed back. You know, things like that, and I certainly can't acquire those things. I'm taking chances in my life. You know, but now we're under the mindset of if there's anything I do want, it'll be a save, pay cash, save, pay cash. There's not this mentality of, oh, get it now, pay later. You know, it's a different thing now. You know, that mindset has changed as well, right? Because I know I don't want my belongings owning me. I want to own my belongings, right? That's just wise, because I know with me, being bipolar is a very, very unexpected thing. As much as I can handle most things that happen in my life, you never know when something's going to happen where it could be this fucking trigger that sends you off on this race, on this, on this, you know, and there's just no coming back from. That's a reality. That's being realistic. No, I do everything I can to prevent that from happening. But there's always that small chance, right? It's like that, always that small chance that I'll die of COVID. Same type of thing. So the new year is going to be full of different things. We have a lot of changes. Well, not really changes. They're things I've done before. But I chose not to stick with for a variety of reasons. Most of all, timing, you know, and stuff. But now it's time for me to know what will happen if I stick to the plan and stick to the routine and stay in the bubble. You know, let's see what can be accomplished within the year if I don't stick my head out and start exploring things and asking too many questions of myself and that. Because I hope this fucking video makes sense. I know it makes sense up here. I know one thing I'm definitely sick of. I'm definitely sick of talking about this shit. It's like I almost want to take a year to just take things in, take life in without self-analyzing every fucking thing and checking myself on everything I do. You know, I have a routine and I know it works, and I like to see what happens if I stick with it. You know? Gym closed on the 26th. Now I hear it's for a whole month. A whole month. Oh, time to break out those Rona pills. Uh, where are they, what? 27th today? So, hoping to start tomorrow with that, our home workouts. Do the best we can. Yeah, I think it'll be a good break for me to stop, to just living and stop asking so many questions of myself. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Just stick to a plan and not question it. You know, whether it be someone new in my life or another job opportunity. I think those two things would be the two things that would affect my life the most. And we've experienced two of those things this year, and we've had to kind of go over the process on pros and cons and what to do, what not to do. So it's doubtful I'll encounter any one of those two things within the next year. But I think I have a pretty good bead on how to handle the decision making on those on one of those two things that may occur, or if they occur. So we can put those thoughts out of our mind and just concentrate on what we need to do and see what can be accomplished. So I have to talk to my family. If I'm not that social, this is why. They'll understand. They'll understand. You know, it's important that I do this. It's important. Boy, if I stick to the plan, people are really going to think that there's nothing wrong with me. Oh, man, you really got your shit together, bud. No, I'm just sticking to a plan. I go off the rails in any second. Yeah, so. Well, that's the thing, you know. The reality of bipolar is structure and routine is the safe play. It really is the safe play. You know, and this year was a testimony to that. You know, for the first time in my life, I'm in a position where things are really good in my life. I have no reason to complain. And I should make the best of it, right? I really should. And stop putting myself through these, stop sticking my head out to try to experience things that are only going to hinder me. No regrets, though. I'm not saying what happened over this last year is with any regret. Because I did learn a lot that I could use in the future, right? And I shouldn't have to go through this again. It's been difficult understanding my past. That's probably been the most difficult thing. Um, Not that I'm living in the past, it's just there's a lot of questions I have about the past. Um, it's just when I look back at a lot of things that I did, I'm like, what were you thinking, man? Like, it just blows me away. But it's also even the relationships that I've had, whether it be friends or whatnot. It's understanding those friendships. What were they built on? What were the relationships built on? What was it built on? I have a friend who I still keep in contact from my past, so maybe we'll sit down and have a drink and have that discussion one day. So, it's certainly something that's not going to bother me now. I can wait. Well, I think that's it. Not sure if this one's going to make sense or not. But we'll watch it. And watch it and watch it and rewatch it. See how much of it sticks. Because that's really it's all about. Because I'll encounter something in my life. And I'll remember something from a video. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. This is a moment where you need to think about that, or you need to react this way. It's a lot to keep track of. Like I said, time and time again, it's just about reps, right? Experiencing the same things over and over and over, like repetition, and just dealing with it, right? Whatever experience life that it is. Well, relationships will and probably will continue to be the hardest, the most challenging aspect of my life. And the reason it is because people are inconsistent, right? People are inconsistent. No fault of their own. They are who they are. So it's tough. It's tough, especially if you're an overthinker like myself. I'm dealing with multiple realities and new life experiences. It's a lot to organize. So I think it'll be nice to just take a year off and just kind of just focus on doing what I need to do and kind of creating a bubble for myself that's comfortable and fulfilling, hopefully. And give it a year, give it a good shot and see what happens. Because like I say, it's time for my wants now. It's time for my wants. I've been looking after my needs for far too long now. There's some things that I've done that I haven't done for myself. I've done for other people. Which I didn't realize at the time, but time to be selfish again, maybe? That's the right word. Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing to say. and do this for me, not for any other reasons, not for anyone else, whether it be online or in my circle or in my past. The funny thing is, it's not going to be very hard to do. It's like quitting smoking. I couldn't even tell you guys what date it was. I don't even know what day I quit smoking. I had a smoke with my mom over the holidays. I don't know what to fucking buy her for Christmas. I'm like, Mom, this is fucking stupid. I don't know what to fucking get you. She's buying me a pack of smokes. I'm like, perfect, I'll buy you a pack of smokes. And I had one with her. But I couldn't tell you last time I bought a pack of cigarettes, and I couldn't tell you what day I quit. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. The learning process is expensive. It's very expensive. Understanding things is expensive. Exploring your emotions is expensive. And for some reason, people determine your status by wealth, not how healthy you are. Strange thing, eh? My mom even does that. And I know I'm judged a lot of ways in that as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that changes and how people react in my circle. You know, it's almost because they look at it as a status thing. Well, if you don't have a TV, 50-inch screen, you will have success in life. If you're wearing jogging pants and the strings are hanging off of them, you don't have success in life. You know, it's no one's fault, really. That's just the way it is. People see you as the sum of your material, right? Of your ownings. You know, oh, you want a house? Oh, you have status. You have a car? You have status. You know, I think you guys know what I mean. So I think that's something I'm going to try. Just to see, as kind of an experiment too. You know, because I am curious to see how things change when people see you with a expensive watch or a gold chain or nice clothes, or you don't see your personal life splatter all over social media. You know, there was I have someone on my Facebook page. And she did a tremendous transformation. Tremendous. And I asked her, I said, did you find that people treated you very differently after you've lost the weight? And she's in amazing shape now. I mean, amazing. And we had a conversation about that. And that's exactly what I thought. She didn't tell me anything that I didn't surprise me. I'm not going to get into our conversation, but it was very interesting, to say the least. Very, very interesting. How her life changed just on how people treated her afterwards. You know, so... And I've never been a materialistic guy. I'm not saying that I'm going to go out and buy myself a new truck or a new Beamer or anything like that. Just small things, you know. like I said, wants, things that I want. And I want to see what happens with the process. Because I never really done that before, maybe, you know? The way I want to do it. I haven't ever done that before. So, anyways, call it a New Year's resolution if you want. I just think it's just happened of circumstance and timing. You know, it just turned out this way. You know, my goal was to hit 275 pounds by December, and we fell a little short of that. That's no big deal. The gym will always be there, and I know, like I said, I know what to do. I know the process. I know what can be done, what's possible, what's not possible, what I want from it, what I need from it. So maybe this is a good break. I don't know. I just think it'll be healthy to, because I don't see how this process of exploring all this shit, it's healthy and it's not, right? There's only so much the mind can take. You got to give it a break once in a while. And I think my mind needs a break. I think it just needs a break. One thing, the reality is for sure, what's going to happen for me during this time is I'll definitely live in hypomanic and manic throughout the year. That's not going to go without saying, because without the bipolar bridge, there's just no way for me to come down. That's just the reality of it. You know, I think my manic experiences, that means like top of the food chain there, I think will be very limited, because I won't subject myself to anything that'll trigger that kind of reaction, although it is unpredictable. You know, for example, if I hurt myself in the gym really bad, you know, that would definitely trigger a manic episode, like fucking, you know. So, it's going to be interesting to see. That could play to my favor, or it could play to my faults. The faults is there'll be a lot of delusion for certain things, mainly coming to my training and stuff. Like, I'll have to be very careful when it comes to my cycles. I'll have to really pay attention to how much I'm taking of stuff. Because in a blink of an eye, like, I could be looking, I'm like, holy shit, man, look at all the shit you're taking, you know? You know, but that's why I went through what I did this year, experimenting with a lot of different things. It's almost preparation for this day. You know, there was times I took a lot of gear, and there's times that I wasn't. And the times that I took a lot of gear, I did it for a short time, and there was no desire to take it above that. So I'm not too worried. I'm just hypothesizing of some of the things that could happen. But I have my cycles the way I know I want to do them, and I've experienced those cycles. I know the side effects. And like I said, most of my life is in the hypomanic realm, so I exercised pretty good judgment. I think I went a little too far, probably, I think it was in April, but that was March, April, that's when COVID hit. You know, I went through some manic episodes there that were pretty outstanding. for videos, for things I discussed. I have already discussed why in those videos back in May or March, where it was. So I think I'll be okay. Um, I think it'll be all right. It'll be fine. One thing I definitely I'm looking forward. I'll definitely won't have any more depressive episodes moving forward. There was a lot of that this year for obvious reasons. So those I don't foresee having any depressive or low points at all. I don't. I just can't see it. Just from my own experiences, dealing with this stuff. I can understand why people. I think I'm starting to understand more why people don't like discussing their problems. I think it's because they're just too fucking hard to explain. Not that everyone's bipolar, but I'm just hypothesizing here. Maybe that's why people don't want to deal with their shit or talk about their problems, because it's hard to articulate. It's fucking tough. It's fucking tough. It's hard to take what's happening in here a million miles an hour and filtering it through this fucking thing. That's a very difficult thing to do. For a variety of reasons, right? I just laugh because I just don't remember life being this tough. I just don't. I just don't. I just don't. Oh. My biggest problem was I hated my fucking job. And I hated who I was becoming. Oh, I don't know. The past is a funny thing. The past is a funny thing. Anyways, I've been like chirping for an hour here. So last video of the year. Personal one anyways. I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. I wish everyone a very prosperous New Year. A healthy New Year. Yeah, I don't know what else to fucking say. Certainly don't have any inspirational words for you. Look for me on Instagram. I'll be banging away at that fucking 2x4. I figure it'll probably take me, I think, a year of conditioning my hand before I can really start trying to break that fucking thing. Just getting a sense of what people have said online, what I've looked online, my own experiences. It's just my gut feeling tells me that. It's definitely getting easier. Like, you wouldn't believe how fucking hard this is getting. That first week was bruising and swelling and, it healed, but the reality is it's going to take a shit ton of force to break that thing. And one of the guys online, he was correct. The board flexes and bends, absorbs all the thing, and he suggested, you dry it out and, dry all the sap and this and that. And I told him basically, that wouldn't be much of an accomplishment now, would it? Now, if the thing dries out on its own over the next 2 years, whatever, then so be it. But I'm certainly not going to mess with it. I'm going to let things take their course the way they take their course. But what's going to happen? I've seen some guy who was breaking 2x4s, some Oriental guys. I made a bit. This is where the original thought came from. I think this was a year or two ago. Saw my video somewhere. It says today's motivational video. Anyways, he was breaking 2x4s and pipes and bricks with his shin. But one thing that I did notice, which made sense, was this guy said to me online how it's pliable, is when it gets to the point where I feel my hand is strong enough and can really absorb the pounding without breaking it, just like Muay Thai shins, those guys. The board is going to have to be braced with clamps, right? It's going to have to be bolted like really firmly clamped down. So I'm going to have to build some kind of contraption to hold that board at some point. But I figure it's going to take me a long time just to condition my hand, even before I get to that point. So, but, it's an impossible thing to do. And, my story is about the impossibility, right? Both things impossible. I shouldn't be here, I said to one guy, he misunderstood one of my videos, and I simply said, listen, this is all about, giving hope and inspiration, and the same time trying to be entertaining in some way, right? With some of those out of control videos, but the last post I made on Facebook was, what is there any part of our lives which is under control? When I heard about the second lockdown, that's when I pretty much made up my mind about the 2x4, is because, you know what, sure, going to the gym and building muscles and transforming your body takes a lot of dedication and will, but I'm at the mercy of the gym opening and closing, right? To further my progress. I can maintain my physique at home, but if I want to progress in any way, I depend on the gym for that. And so that's kind of out of my control. So as far as the 2x4 goes, it's just me and the 2x4. That's it. That's all. It's just me fucking smashing that fucking thing until it breaks. And that's it. There's nothing's gonna come between me and that 2x4. Nothing. Unless, of course, I have no arms. But, under most circumstances, I'll be able to fucking wail on that thing every goddamn day. So I want to know what's going to happen. That's under my control. It's just being the 2x4. No outside influences. Nothing's going to stop me from fucking banging that thing every day, right? So that's kind of where that came from, I think. Well, it was definitely part of what made up my mind to do that. Now, of course, there's other underlining reasons for me doing that, pick your reason. It's hard to do. It's just, doing something, a goal, something to focus on, an accomplishment, doing something that may be impossible. Gives myself hope too, about not giving up on something. Seeing it through, following through with it, shit like that. Maybe people watching it are saying, look at this crazy fucking guy. This bipolar guy is delusional. Well, if that 2x4 ends up breaking, am I still delusional? Am I? To see you guys again. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. God bless you all.
This episode is brought to you by Six Star, guaranteed to make you big as fuck! And special thanks to Working Hands. It's the shit!